This week in the security news, Cloudflare was down. It was not good. Logitech was breached. The largest data breach in history was not the Logitech one, but yet a different one. Fortinet Fortiweb, the saga continues. Hacking Linux through your malware scanner. Oh, the irony. I never stopped hating Systemd, the ASUS exploit that never existed. If iRobot fails, can we deploy our own hacker bot army? Firmware encryption's a bitch. Threat actors deploy Claude Code, remembering the Viasat hack and why we can't have nice things, hacking re-entry sensors, sending signals in the wrong direction, file format uncracked for 20 years, and 2026 is the year of the Linux desktop. Then Bryce Owen joins us to discuss how he created a really awesome conference badge, which I have right here. So stay tuned, all that and more on this episode of Paul's Security Weekly.
This is a Security Weekly production for security professionals by security professionals. Please visit securityweekly.com/subscribe to subscribe to all the shows on our network.
Broadcasting live from G-Unit Studios in Rhode Island, it's the show where exploits run wild, packets aren't the only things getting sniffed, and the cocktails flow steady. It's Paul's Security Weekly. Ever feel like your network infrastructure is stuck in the past? Meet Meter, the company reimagining what it means to get and stay online. Meter delivers full-stack networking, wired, wireless, and cellular, all in one seamless, scalable, and secure solution. From hardware design and firmware to software, deployment, and support, Meter streamlines every part of your network while giving you all the control and transparency you need. Whether you're managing a branch office, retail stores, or a massive data center, Meter gives you performance, reliability, and the visibility you need to stay in control. Thanks to Meter for sponsoring. Go to securityweekly.com/meter to book a demo now. That's securityweekly.com/meter, METER. Ransomware, supply chain attacks, 0 days. Cyber threats don't wait, and neither should your defenses. With ThreatLocker, you're not just reacting to threats, you're stopping them before they start. ThreatLocker's zero-trust endpoint protection locks down your environment with pinpoint control over what's allowed to run and what's not. No guesswork, no blind spots, just proactive, built-for-now security that keeps your business moving. Want to see how a true default deny strategy works? Head over to securityweekly.com/ThreatLocker and take the first step towards shutting the door on threats before they even knock. Coming to you live from the Hacker Syndicate studios, this is Paul's Security Weekly. It's episode number 901, being recorded on Wednesday, November 19th, 2025. I'm Paul Asadorian, joined remotely by Mr. Larry Pesce. Larry, welcome.
Hey, it's good to be here. It's good to decompress a little bit after the day I've had today.
Yeah, you've had a day. You've definitely had a day. I will give that to you.
And there was more on that front, but we'll leave it.
Yeah. Mandy Logan's here with us. Hi, Mandy.
Why, thank you. And I'm going to say quickly on Cloudflare, my favorite post was the one I shared in our internal chat about from Wrecked. Just going to leave it at that for right now. Because then it was posted by Matt J. It is out there more.
Yes. Oh, I saw that. That was hilarious. Mr. Jeff Mann is here with us. Jeff, welcome.
Greetings. And I'm curious, is 901 a prime number? Anybody? Quick?
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know
So?
either.
The listeners.
It is. We're in our prime.
We're in our
I'd
prime.
like to think.
Well, yeah, we can just go with that. Josh Morpet is here with us. Josh, welcome.
Hey, if I'm in my prime, why does it hurt so much?
Mr. Sam Bound is here with us.
Good evening, and I am not using Linux on my desktop.
Poor choice. Mr. Lee Neely is here with us. Lee, welcome.
And it's good to be here. Well, I have Linux VMs. My desktop isn't. But you know what? Life's short. We could change things.
Time for a change. Mr. Bill Swearingen. Oh, he's not here again.
Oh, darn.
Okay.
Oh, that was wrong.
I was trying to think of the appropriate way
No,
to
it was
bust his
perfect.
beans.
It was absolutely
and I
perfect. It
thought
was still
live on the
wrong.
air. With like live on the air is just where I went. So
We're all
Yes,
wearing hats in
totally.
his honor.
that's it. Tune in live every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. You can watch the show live. The live links are in our Discord server. You can find the invite to that at securityweekly.com/Discord. Mandy, you were talking about the Cloudflare outage.
Yeah.
Before we do that,
Oh, yeah.
Bill's really here.
He is?
It's just just he's wearing that fabric that the AI models can't find him.
Right. He's been there the whole time.
Full beta testing everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry.
he's walking around naked except for that fabric to see when he gets picked up by the cops or not.
So I'm working on building an app. I talked about it in a segment that will air later. And when the morning of the Cloudflare outage, I logged into my app and I had no style sheets. And I was like, Claude, what'd you do now? I have no style sheets. I'm like, can you go fix that? And Claude was like, oh yeah, I'm downloading style sheets from this other website. I'm like, well, that's bad. I never told you to do that. And so I'm glad you told me that. So I'm like, let's fix that and let's move to all local style sheets. And then it proceeded to screw up the entire layout of my app that I had to spend the next several hours prompting it to fix the style sheet in my app. And then I realized that it was because of the Cloudflare outage.
So did you ask the AI to fix Cloudflare?
I did. It said it couldn't help me with that. It said, sorry, Dave, I can't do that.
Oh, wait. Have you joined the AI religion?
No, I have not.
No, you know that there's a full religion that you can absolutely become a card-carrying member of.
An AI religion.
And can we conduct wedding ceremonies and baptisms?
Is there a punchline?
No, it's just a real thing. Like, it's just out there. I don't.
I thought it was a joke. Like, have you heard about the new AI religion? Like,
it needs a
hallucinate.
Too bad it's artificial.
It's just a literal thing that people have joined. It's out there. It's real.
It's apparently a real thing. It's called Way of the Future.
I too welcome our giant robot overlords.
AI overlords.
We will now collect donations in the form of tokens.
No, because you're the only one using
context keys. Yeah,
you're the only one using Claude Code, which people will learn next week.
I'm sorry, we don't take crypto.
Right.
Speak for yourself.
So I don't know. Cloudflare had an outage. Mandy, I thought the funniest thing was the one you sent. It was like writing it as if the Amazon engineer that caused the outage went to work for Cloudflare.
Went to work for Cloudflare in their first day.
But that Amazon engineer was also one that vibe coded all the migration to IPv6 at AWS.
Same guy.
Same guy that was at CrowdStrike.
He's had a lot of jobs recently.
Yeah, CrowdStrike to Amazon to Cloudflare. It's great.
And the irony is, it wasn't DNS with Cloudflare this time.
God, I thought for sure it was DNS. Like my money was on DNS.
I did too. Turns out it was just an overly large config file.
I didn't have overly large. I didn't put any money on overly large config file.
Yeah,
that's what she said.
It was an overly large config file for DNS. No, I'm kidding. It wasn't for DNS at all. But.
Was it like a guy's interpretation of a really large configuration file that was only like a couple of kilobytes?
That's exactly what I was
it was
say.
actually a really large
28 kilobytes.
Actually, no, Paul was a fisherman's.
That was the next thing.
This big.
So there was no file, basically. Yes, I get it.
So I'm
I've got it.
Hey, baby,
I'll
come
take
up to
down
my
any part of
place
the
and see my
internet for
big
only
config file.
28.8 kilobytes.
Right.
And if you call in the next 5 minutes, we'll throw in another kilobyte for $5.95.
Well, then a lot of us were troubleshooting our own home routers and DNS because, like, I went to the website Tindy, and I was like, "Why? There's no images loading on Tindy." I'm like, "That's weird." I'm like, "Is there something wrong with my internet?" And I was like, "Oh,
yes, there is.
There was. Cloudflare was out, and they probably cached all their images on Cloudflare." Oh, but there was a security thing where, no, that was a different story. Well, maybe it was the same story. No, it was the same story. Sorry. Where the people redirected their traffic to not use Cloudflare to go directly to their websites. And then shock and horror set in when they realized that the protection services and WAF capabilities that Cloudflare gave them no longer existed, and attackers would have access to those vulnerabilities on their website, which is another reason why you should actually fix the problems and not just put a WAF in front of it or put it on a different segment, right? Here's an example of why that's a bad idea. So that's Cloudflare.
You mean if I leave the buggy code but just hide it, it can still be exploited?
Yeah, imagine that. You're just kind of
No.
trying to mask the problem. I was never a big fan of it. Like, just fix the actual problem. I know it's hard, but fix the actual problems.
But this is an industry built on Band-Aids.
I was going to say, what is the digital equivalent of sweeping under the rug?
WAF.
Cloudflare.
I mean,
that's exactly what Cloudflare is.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or putting its network segmentation, right? Just put it on a different segment.
I mean, WAF
Mainframe.
is nice
Sweep it under the rug.
if you have a flaw, there isn't a fix yet. The WAF can help you mask it or reduce the threat until such time as you can get a fix. But that's not the end all.
No.
It's just a layer.
Temporary means permanent in IT. I think that's part of the problem.
If
That's
only
also
AI could help us to write more secure code.
Oh,
We should talk about that sometime.
We should.
maybe
We should
next
do like a whole
week.
segment on it. Yeah.
We should do a whole segment on it.
Well,
So
wait.
sweeping under
Snap
the
my
rug
fingers.
in
Oh, hey,
AI.
it's done. Imagine that.
The sweeping under the rug in AI, like that startup that said it was using AI, but it was just the guys eating pizza in India.
Oh God, AI, another Indian.
I'm just saying it was in a different country. They just had. It doesn't matter.
Oh.
It was people eating, that were sustaining themselves on pizza while pretending to be the AI.
I thought that was Amazon's stores that you went into when you just put your
No,
phone
they're-
and
You just walk through
Fireflies.
and it automatically
This is actually not a
charges you?
joke. It's actually a real story. It was Fireflies,
It's a real
the
story.
AI transcribing system. They came out with the story that they just literally added themselves as, Fireflies for Larry Pesci or whatever to every meeting that they were scheduled for. And they would manually take notes and send out the summary for the first 1,000 meetings until they had enough money saved up to actually buy AI time. I remember, I just read that story the other day.
Wow.
Right?
wow. Wow. That was also how all the processing was done for those Amazon stores, like in Seattle, is you could just walk in
Mhm.
and it would sense that it
The
was your phone. It
Amazon
would tie it.
Go.
Yeah, the Amazon Go. And the video cameras and all the RFID and all that type of stuff was so you could just pick something up and walk out. Turns out it was just outsourced to a bunch of folks in India that were watching all
Watching what you
of
picked up.
all the video, watching what you picked up, and then charging it to your account.
And judging you.
That too. Yep. That is also true, Mandy.
Are we ready to talk about the Linux desktop?
No, anything else. Larry, how's a
Let's
Larry,
talk
have you heard of
about
the digital
Larry, what was
products
your day?
passport?
Does throwing tomatoes count as talking about it?
There wasn't there a DoorDash breach?
Look, I'm all.
I wanted to hear about. I wanted to hear about the Logitech breach. Jeff, Logitech confirms
There was a
data
little
breach.
mouse.
No, because that makes me
I'm not
think
the
about
only
my
one that
truck
shared
being
that
destroyed.
story.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's something a little
Lee had that
mouse.
one
I'm
too?
not sure about the optics on it, but it was a third-party breach. It was
There was a third-party breach, and it's somehow related back to the Oracle
right.
e-business suite vulnerability breach from a couple months
They had-
ago.
Did you remember to patch your ERP systems in a timely fashion?
You did not. Or someone
My
that was-
experience
yeah.
was the finance and business people that use those systems are not big on downtime
Nope.
and are really big on regression testing. So you have to frequently have a really good relationship and a good track record if you want to do anything quickly. And you also have to understand their world and why they're prickly about that stuff. But it can be done. But you don't walk in there, hello, my name is Lee. I'd like to patch your system today.
Yep. Doesn't go over well.
No. And odds are they've got a lot of clout in their chain of command. So, here I'm from IT. Yeah, okay.
LG suffered a breach as well, which I think is interesting. I want to say it's almost becoming a trend where threat actors are going after companies to steal intellectual property, including source code. I kind of think that, and that's what I thought the Logitech one. I was hoping that's what it would be, but it is not, because Logitech has some interesting firmware and software. It's very different. When I looked at the webcam platforms, and started to dig into like the underlying technology. Most fancy webcams run Linux. Logitech, from what I could gather, does not, and I didn't start like reverse engineering it, but they use a different system. I think AI told me to use something different and proprietary. I'm not sure
Windows.
if it's not Windows. It's not. I don't know if it's another real-time operating system or something like that.
WebOS.
WebOS. LG is WebOS, right? Which is interesting. I feel like threat actors are going after source code.
Why don't they just name it what it is? We steal your viewing habits, OS. We sell your information.
Right.
Like just name the operating system properly. Come on. Even Larry has his old Intel Mac that he uses just for Intel VMs as extraneous.
What we need is open source TV.
They're extraneous as of today.
Stupid.
It got me wanting to like research TV hacking, like list out all the operating systems on the major TV brands, and then research what hacks have gone into them, because there's a lot of cool stuff that people have done over the years. Excuse me. I don't know. Anyway.
But almost to your point, Paul, the trend, I think it was reported in last year's Verizon DBER report, I think was also mentioned in this year's, that the bad guys are stealing not necessarily critical data like they used to steal, like credit card data. They're now stealing credentials and personal data that they can stockpile and sell and hopefully use for future breaches of other things. This seems to be like what's happening here, between what was stolen at Oracle was used to knock over to Logitech, and it looks like they're grabbing stuff that they're going to hope to use somewhere along the line to hopefully steal something useful. But that seems to be the trend the last year or two.
Security researchers, at least some of the few that I've spoken with and work with, we have a really much easier time finding vulnerabilities in source code using AI tools to help us. And I'm concerned that there's a trend that threat actors are now like, well, I'm just going to breach these major companies, steal their source code, because I can just have AI like iterating on that, trying to find vulnerabilities and even if it's not perfect, whatever. And that's why they might be going after source code. I don't know. That's just kind of like my theory.
It's not a bad one.
Speaking of AI, Microsoft Windows users are very upset, apparently. My story number 9.
Because they have to use Windows?
Yeah, pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, specifically Windows 11.
I'm very encouraged by the fact that Iceman still uses Windows.
And Windows 10.
Windows 10, yeah.
Windows 10.
I mean,
so this article I thought was really good in capturing some of the feedback, the like community backlash about Microsoft and Windows, specifically over its AI integrations, Windows 10 end of life, that this article from IT Pro News describes as prompting a mass user migration to Linux. And there are several different data points that it calls upon. Specifically, Microsoft executives having publicly acknowledged the mounting backlash against Windows. They made some kind of LinkedIn post, and there was millions of comments on it or something. They say that users are grappling with forced upgrades, privacy concerns, unwanted AI bloat, and the tech giant Microsoft is scrambling to address the grievances. I don't know that they are, to be quite honest. I think Microsoft may be like, you're the vocal minority. I don't care about you. As long as enterprises are buying Microsoft Windows licenses, we don't care about selling to the individual. I don't think it makes Microsoft enough money for them to even care about all these grievances. But so the LinkedIn post was boasted about Windows evolving into an agentic OS powered by AI, sparking furious responses from users tired of intrusive features like Copilot and Recall. The comment section on Tom's Hardware exploded with complaints about system instability, privacy invasions, and unnecessary resource consumption.
In other words,
also
Windows.
Go ahead, Sam.
That's Windows operating as usual. And I think Windows has always been like this. It's like Spirit Air. People complain and then they come back.
Yeah. Well, maybe. So users are also frustrated over mandatory Microsoft accounts and cloud integrations that feed data into AI models. On X, there was also a whole thread about this as well. Windows Forum from the October 14th, 2025 cutoff says it is leading to a measurable adoption of Linux alternatives. They also cite Windows Central. XDA Developers also has a thread about it as well. This AI integration, it says features like Copilot Plus PCs and the controversial recall tool, which obviously screenshots everything. And it's just more like piling on evidence of basically more and more people becoming frustrated with Windows. And so I think it boils down to people want privacy. They don't want their data being sent to a large corporation like Microsoft. They don't want AI features. They don't see the value, and it hurts performance. They don't want forced upgrades. They don't want to have to upgrade their hardware to support a software operating system update. People also do not want ads, crapware, and the host of other features that Windows comes with by default that's essentially just bloatware. Gaming on Linux also has made huge strides thanks to Valve and Proton. Also, the other data point. Recently, Apple has come out and not said, but basically stated that Apple Mac Pro computers are likely never going to be refreshed. People that cover the Apple news are kind of on the same page going, they don't see a future for the Apple Mac Pro. The Mac Studio is where Apple is putting all of their eggs in the Mac Studio basket. And currently there's really no plans to refresh the Mac Pro line, which greatly suffered after the trash can. People hated that. They switched back to a desktop, but that line has not been refreshed. So if you want a workstation class hardware, you can't be looking to Apple. And I think folks are already turning to Linux for freedom, liberty, privacy, security, and performance. All the things, at least things Linux has to offer. No giant corporation to make decisions based on profit, right? That's why I believe
the actual numbers there of how many people have actually abandoned Windows.
It'd be an interesting study. I mean, you'd have to put up, I don't know, like a user poll or something like that. I mean, a lot of the things from the article are based on community conversations, Sam, right?
But
which very well could
always
be.
hates Windows, but you're stuck with it. I mean, moving to Linux is not remotely practical for 99% of users, I think.
No, I think that's complete horse bullshit. Horseshit.
But
bullshit.
you use
no
Arch.
way.
You're obviously deeply in the cult. I mean,
well, just because I choose to use a specific Linux distribution doesn't discount anyone else. I mean, there's a ton of Linux distributions that are way easier to use, that are tuned for gaming, that are tuned for Windows users, and there's also migration tools that help you migrate from Windows to Linux and copy over your files and applications and things of that nature. And look, Windows isn't a bad option if you can completely neuter it and just use it as an operating system and get rid of the bloat. So when I've done Windows installs, my VM is awesome. I have a great time with Windows because I've cut out all of that crap. And I think that's what people want. I think Microsoft would lose zero market share if they created Windows 11 Pro, charged whatever you want to charge, and it's just Windows without OneDrive, without AI, without all of those features. People just want to use an Office suite, a web browser, and they want to play games, right? And use some Windows apps that only run on Windows.
Now that's
what they want.
That's
they don't want all that crap.
Case.
But Microsoft is force feeding this crap down users' throats. And I've never seen a time in tech history where users have been this frustrated with Windows. Users have always complained about Windows. They've complained about it on security. They've complained about it on privacy, on features, on usability, the whole thing. They've always complained, but not to this level. I mean, the fact that there are huge campaigns spending
what about Windows 8? In Windows 8, everybody screamed and nobody moved. I mean, the point is it's too difficult to move to Linux. According to the infallible Google AI, Linux is now between 2 and 3%, exactly where it's been for the last 20 years.
Okay, now this is interesting because, Sam, I literally just used Gemini AI on Chrome, and it said that globally it's between 2.94 and 4.45 as estimated by StatCounter Global Stats. And in the US, it's between 5.03 and 6.3. But that
on the
is
desktop?
up on desktop.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was comparing it to 2023, and it's increased at least a 1 full percentage point from all the numbers I'm seeing right here.
You know, I have a crazy twist on this as I'm thinking about it. The Copilot, the recall, the hardware restrictions on going from 10 to 11 have been out there for like more than a year. Okay.
Yeah, but we pay attention to that, Lee. Most people don't.
Well, and it's like, but it's not like it's been kept a secret. I mean, people have been posting about it, and it shows up. I'm just like, why the hell didn't? I mean, if there'd been a large response before the cutoff date, Microsoft might have taken it seriously. Now they're like, eh.
Well, I think Microsoft doesn't care. I do think you're going to see a huge uptick in the Linux desktop. By a huge uptick, you might see 2 to 3%, right? More adoption. But I think based on everything I listed, power users and to a certain extent gamers are going to start switching to Linux.
But
which in and of itself is a smaller
100%.
percentage.
Look at Steam Deck.
I don't see enterprises switching to Linux. Gaming platforms, gaming devices like Steam Deck, certainly.
Yeah.
I think that's where the market share is going to be lost.
Linux is going to be utilized far more in gaming platforms in years to come. I think we can all agree, especially on the console side. And Steam Deck at its heart is a console, let's be honest. It is a specialized gaming platform. Can it be used as a Linux box? Absolutely, but it's a gaming platform.
Yep.
Because it's stable, less support costs. Support costs are monstrous there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
However, on the desktop side, I agree with you about the Mac, but I look at a Hackintosh and go, I can make a lot of things expandable. When will somebody come out with enough clones of the Mac Silicon, the Apple Silicon, that it'll be worthwhile Hackintoshing the sucker?
Yeah,
we'll see.
Well,
I will also counter with Paul's own evidence. Story number 8, that there's a $2,000 bug bounty to whoever fixes the Lenovo Legion Pro 8 speakers on Linux. Because you can't make your speakers work on Linux. Like, I know it's a very special, it's a very one lead model of laptop, but this is not, to me, that doesn't inspire confidence about
that's a
why
barrier to
switch.
entry.
Lenovo could. But Lenovo could make that work, but they don't want to. So what happened here is they put a bug bounty to get people who have the technical capabilities to make it work.
Oh. So this is a bug bounty from
Correct.
Lenovo to the community.
This is a community bug bounty that's looking for people who have the appropriate skills to make this work in Linux. Like, that's the dedication of the Linux community, is like, if we need to make it work, like, let's get together and make it work.
But it just works under Windows.
What works?
My speakers.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't look into the actual hardware.
Well, if you actually
platform.
looked at the Linux subsystem for sound, you could make it work too with enough months of effort. Come on, man.
Well, I believe what Mr. Pesce is saying is there's a whole lot of people out there that aren't going to do it or don't think that they have the wherewithal to do it.
Yeah.
They're just going to stay on Windows because it works.
And
I believe that what Mr. Pesce is wrong about
So-
is that honestly, most in a basic Ubuntu style Linux distribution or one of the sort of Linux Mint, Ubuntu, Pop OS, whatever, most everything does work these days.
I would like to enter as evidence my 1-hour talk from Viasat on using the Linux desktop.
I've been trying to cut in to bring that up. I
Thank you.
literally was
Thank
trying
you.
to bring up points
you.
from your talk at RVASEC. I
Yes.
was. Continue.
And one of the points is running Linux today is a very different experience from running it a year, even 2 years ago. It's a completely different experience.
Unfortunately, the talk was only 40 minutes because it took him 20 minutes to get the HDMI port to output to the projector. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, that's wrong,
time, baby.
That's wrong.
Worked the first time.
I'm totally kidding.
Paul's,
totally kidding.
On a counter argument, the other day my neighbor contacted me. Something happened on an update to his laptop, and the HDMI port no longer works, nor does its Thunderbolt port. It does detect that there's something out there, but no video appears. And it's like, and he didn't do anything. I believe him. He really didn't do anything that would affect the video. So some update, but which update am I going to roll back? It's like, holy shit. And oh, by the way, I think the enterprise isn't going to switch because they can customize the Windows environment enough to deploy something that's not going to do the things that people don't want.
And I think most people just won't move to Linux because they don't want to, right? Because
what about academia?
That's right. Like, I'm not going to convince people. Like, you're just not going to move because of preconceived notions.
Paul, can you look in Slack at the last article I just put in for ZDNet?
Yeah. European government is ditching Microsoft for Linux. Nice.
I remember catching.
Yeah, Liechtenstein.
It's Denmark did it, and now wait, is this another? It says
Germany.
yet another.
It's part of Germany. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Denmark did it, and a couple. But
Yeah.
how long has
The
China
adoption
been
in-
busy? Well, they're doing their own OS, though.
Yeah. The adoption of Linux in Europe is much greater.
So my concern is that you have to have the support. I mean, yes, you can make things technically work, but I just imagine calling the help desk and they tell you the Windows command to fix whatever's wrong, or they offer to throw the latest Windows update on there. Or, you got to have the support, the ecosystem to go with it. That doesn't mean you can't do it, but if you don't have the base, and you're going to have, and Jiminy Christmas, how many support staff are really up on Linux? Sam, if only you teach your students to only use Linux, it'd be fine.
There are teachers that do that. I'm not one of them. Although, to be fair, I only use Windows as a target. I mean, living on it was horrible. I tried it for years. Then Windows 8 came out and I got a Mac. I think the only reasonable alternatives for 99% of people are Windows or the Mac. Yeah. Linux requires a lot of technical knowledge, far more than most users are willing to invest
Not
in.
as much.
Sam, when's the last time you installed Linux on a desktop?
5 years ago, Sam, you'd be spot on, but not today.
I
mean, that was
I'm not
basically
trying to
the
be
premise of
rude,
my
Sam,
talk.
but I'm honestly curious.
It's not.
When's the last time you
It's
dumped?
just-
When's the last time you put Ubuntu or Pop OS or Mint, and there's a dozen others that I can't think of, on a desktop? I'm honestly curious.
Well, I run them in virtual machines, but I haven't put it on hardware in 10 years.
Do me a favor. Take one of the 15 laptops that are probably 10 feet to your left, because they are for all of us, and drop a Linux USB of Ubuntu or Linux Mint. Linux Mint's a great one. And see what happens. As long as it's not like
I know
hit with a sledgehammer.
I know it's better than it used to be, but it's just not a reasonable alternative for most users, I think.
Yes, it is. Now, the way that Paul does it is hard mode. Manjaro Linux for daily user is the wrong thing to do. I found this out. Okay.
Yeah, Josh didn't have a good time with it. It
was god-awful.
There's more difficult options.
I threw Ubuntu on an ancient Mac Mini. It was actually, I shouldn't say ancient, it's 10 years old Quad i7 Mac Mini that I got for $50 off of Home Lab sales on Reddit. And I threw Ubuntu on the sucker, and my kid uses it every day. Mm-hmm. Okay, my 7-year-old, just to be clear. And my 3-year-old is learning how to log in, which is awesome. And I'm really proud of them. Sorry.
So
go ahead, Lee.
You just had, Josh, you just gave me a thought. Where in the spectrum is a Chromebook? Because a lot of schools are using Chromebooks.
Yep. They are. And I actually built a company, one of my startups we built using Chromebooks. I also got my sister's veterinary clinic to use Chromebooks. They are simple to use, but they're not as
Chromebooks to almost everybody.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Well,
to
they
any
are simple to
non-techie
use.
user, I do.
To any non-techie user, but there are limitations. So depending on what you use, it may not work for you. For kids in schools, fan-freaking-tastic.
Yeah, it's fine. Right.
Okay.
So I'm thinking about the average what do we want to say, run-of-the-mill user, not necessarily a gamer, given a choice between Windows, Linux, Chromebook, and Mac. Would they be as successful in a Chromebook? They don't need a super sophisticated environment. I'm just thinking.
It depends if they're going to run.
Turn at Albuquerque here, but
But it depends, Lee. I think on what software you need to run. Right?
That's a really good.
You might not be like the world's superpower user, but you've got a Bamboo Labs 3D printer, and if you have a Chromebook, you're not putting Bamboo Studio on a Chromebook. At least I've never tried.
Not.
It's probably a no-go, right?
Right.
So
but if you're just needing web interfaces for stuff, you're going to rock and roll all day long.
Yeah.
Got it. You know what? You got to understand your use case even more so. And that even applies to the beginning of this conversation where we're saying, people moving to Linux. They have to understand what they can and cannot do there. I mean, if they can do everything there, more power to them. I mean, the hell, go for it. But if they can't, if they've got an app that's only going to run in Windows.
Is it possible that this is a generational thing and younger people? I mean, the young people who live in my house, they're on these things. They don't have laptops or desktops. I mean, I think they use them in school.
But
I think
what's a computer?
To Paul's point, Android is Linux underneath, and the iPhone is BSD underneath.
On mobile devices,
I don't disagree
all
with
Linux. Absolutely.
I mean, if you add in Chrome OS and Android, then Linux has a larger share than Mac.
So is there an
iOS.
operating system? Is there a Linux
iOS too.
derivative that looks like an Android on a bigger screen with a
Yeah,
big
it's called
Chromebook.
It's called Android. Yeah,
It's called a Chromebook.
it's called a Chromebook. Yeah.
Well, people make all kinds of custom Linux distributions to look like other operating systems, more than I can even keep tabs on. Which is also it's a double-edged sword, right?
Well, I
Because
think
you want to run Linux, but okay, what distribution are you going to run?
Well, think about this. All right. I mean, some of us have been around doing this for a while. Think about what percentage of devices in our world are now running a variant of Unix. So I'm adding BSD, Linux, and all the other stuff out there together.
And OS
This is
10.
when I was starting in IT in the 70s. But it was kind of, that's pre-Windows. That's not fair. But my point is, it's just like incredible, the penetration of the Unix OS. And then the usefulness. I mean, Linux really made a UI that was far more useful. I mean,
Hey, look, some crazy people run FreeBSD as their desktop. So
I've run SunOS as a desktop and Solaris.
Oh yeah, I did too. That was actually not that bad.
Back when rocks were soft and dirt was young.
Well, yeah. And you had to compile your own virtualized window manager so you could have more than one desktop.
Oh, you had
And
to.
Jeff
compile
was
a lot of
already a
things on your own.
curmudgeon at that point.
Well,
pretty
yeah.
much.
And he was the main proponent of Pangea OS.
No, just Pangea. It was the supercontinent back then.
From source.
It wasn't Pangea OS. He just liked the pen. He just was reminiscing about the supercontinent back in the old days when you could walk across to Africa. Sorry.
Well, I really think it's
I think we need to switch stories because we're going to be here for another hour.
Everything is going to be agentic AI. We should talk about the agentic AI in Windows. That's what people are going to love about it.
So I recall when you could walk to Africa.
So when my
Ask
agentic
your
AI used to
what
be able to
year
walk
that
to
was.
Africa, actually, I think that the interesting thing is the penetration of AI. It's showing up in more and more places, good, bad, and otherwise. I mean, the next Wednesday we're going to talk about a really cool use case that Paul's dealt on with AI. And
This is Paul's story number 12.
Wait. Who here has had to deal with a client or employer who thinks that AI is magic pixie dust and needs to be sprinkled on everything?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Okay. And if you didn't hold your hand up, you're lying.
Microsoft thinks that. They say that Microsoft's recent warning about a new AI feature integrated into Windows known as Copilot Actions or Agentic AI strong criticism from security experts say the company is downplaying major security risks linked to this technology. Concerns center around the ability to use these AI agents to autonomously perform actions on behalf of the user, which could lead to the installation of malware, exfiltration of data, novel attack vectors, particularly through prompt injection or manipulation attacks. AI needs to be guided. It needs to be have some guardrails and ask permission before it does things.
How about
it's not quite ready.
Just an opt-in or opt-out for the AI? That would be nice.
Yeah, I would love for Microsoft again to create Windows Pro with none of these fancy features. Charge more for it, right? You would get that tech enthusiast crowd. Now the tech enthusiast crowd they're all saying we're going to Linux right now. That's the sentiment. But again, this is a tech enthusiast crowd. This is not the enterprise. This is, even like your friends and family that aren't tech people. Maybe some people build them Linux systems and it's totally fine. But your tech enthusiasts don't like all this crap. They've got specific use cases for their technology. I'm a security professional. I need to do tasks. I'm a gamer. I need to do tasks. Windows is now just getting in the way and adding bloat. And so they're like, well, I'm just going to use Linux. And if Linux solves 95% of my problems, I still have that Windows box or VM that I can fall back on because I'm a tech enthusiast. I have multiple computers. I have the ability to run VMs and do that. That's where I see this shift happening. And Microsoft introducing this, Copilot actions is just another thing that's going to drive more pure tech people away from the platform. And also introduce but it's security too. Security people don't like this because I'm like, this is really bad. I wouldn't trust AI to do things on my behalf right now because AI hallucinates. AI is vulnerable to prompt injections. We're too far behind on AI and LLM security to implement these new features. We're putting the cart before the horse.
There's a reason
but everybody's
they call
going to be
this
using agentic browsers anyway.
right.
Which was a security nightmare already. Yep.
Yeah.
I really like Kevin Beaumont's quote here about this is macros on Marvel's superhero crack.
Yeah. I was actually reminded of the line from Galaxy Quest. It's all real.
You mean
it's the world we'd love existed, but it doesn't exist yet. Well, some of us would love to, because we've been reading about it in science fiction since we were kids. It's not there yet.
Larry, I wanted to get your take on my story number 11. No touch. So the high level is there's these re-entry sensors, and they literally are labeled no touch. So right, you got to badge in to get into the facility, but when you're leaving the facility for safety reasons, you don't have to badge out. But the door's still locked. So from the inside, these sensors use infrared, and you just wave your hand in front of it, and the door opens. What researchers from SensePost figured out is that you can create I think it's an infrared transmitter.
Yep.
That you can shine through a window, and will basically trigger the sensor to open the door. And even more like James Bond, if there are reflective surfaces in the room, you can reflect that infrared light off of something back into the sensor. Which
Holy crap! I just did
awesome.
this.
Right? Isn't this is like so cool? And
we just had
walk you through all the hardware like you need to build and all the stuff. But I was like, this is awesome.
It's actually not even hard. We just had B-Sides Delaware at a local university, and I was futzing around. Let me see if I have it in my pocket. I do. So one of my flashlights that I carry on a daily basis has a black light in it.
Yep.
And I was futzing around and I realized I opened a door by accident because they have these exact sensors.
Yep.
They say wave, not no touch, but they wave in front of the thing. And I'm like, what the hell? And I duplicated it, and it was apparently if you wave it stupidly, which I was doing, you can get the damn things to open.
Because it's just sensing light, basically.
Yeah, all it is sensing. Well, it's sensing an interruption of the beam.
Interruption. Yeah.
And so if you manage to screw with it to make it think, it's the same thing as your garage door sensors. If you have the old garage door sensors that you have, it won't come down if there's something in the beam.
Yeah.
You can make them think there's something there when there isn't.
Okay, but okay. So I'm
yeah.
thinking back to the doors with when the sensors detect motion, and you and they're in the wrong spot, and you blow a puff of cigarette smoke across them, they'll open, and the mitigation is to put them in a better spot. What's the mitigation for these things? I mean, it seems like it's too many ways this can go wrong.
You go back to
That's
a
a great
button you
point.
have to press.
Yeah. I
Go back
agree.
to
Moving
a
on.
Rex. Yeah, go back to a Rex, a request to exit button that you smack,
Yeah, I mean,
and
yeah.
it opens.
Yeah, because the sensors, I mean, they've been beaten 6 ways to Sunday.
Dude,
I
wet
mean,
paper towel on the end of a coat hanger, and you wiggle it back and forth, and the sensor above the door goes and opens up, and like
if you can slide a balloon underneath and then inflate it, right, you can get the re-entry sensor, the can of air, vape device, whatever.
Right.
yeah,
I've
turn
seen it
the
all.
can of air upside down, spray the cloud into the
Yeah.
Or if you're Dave Kennedy or Deviant, Dave Kennedy was the vape.
Dave Kennedy
Deviant
was vape.
the mouthful of bourbon that he
Oh,
that
interesting.
he blew in between
Way
the
to raise
door
the
and the
bar.
I've
But
heard
did he
stories
light it
about
on fire?
nope.
No.
Larry,
blow
I
up dolls.
sense a
People use like
test.
blow.
Mhm.
I believe people have used blow up
Research.
dolls. I've seen that in a
Probably
pen test. Yeah.
because
We need to breathe fire through a set of doors with Everclear. It's got to be done.
No fire. No fire.
Come
I feel like
on,
I feel like I'm
Glass. If they're glass
feel like
doors.
I feel like I'm Tony Soprano now. No more fires. Okay. No more fires.
But Dad,
But it has been,
Yeah.
what, 6 years since I set off the fire alarms at Mandalay Bay? We're fine.
It's been 6 years since the last incident. We're fine.
so,
Six
so the
years.
restraining order's cleared now, Mandy.
Yeah, exactly. We're clear, guys. It's fine.
yeah, it's good. We can do it again. So you probably ask, like, how do we fix this problem? Well, I know how we fix this problem, and it sucks. And this was a solution that I saw in an office on some of my world travels the other day, which made it really awkward for contractors to be in this office. In order to get into the office, there was a camera, and it did facial recognition.
Mm-hmm.
If it couldn't recognize your face, you could tap in with an RFID-based badge.
Okay.
So you got in the office. Cool. When you wanted to leave the office, there was the same system on the inside,
Mm-hmm.
and you needed to use either facial recognition or tap your badge to exit the office.
That's illegal.
In this country.
In the U.S., it's illegal. I was not in the U.S.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Oh.
a fail secure door. That's dangerous as hell.
Uh-huh. Now, don't get me wrong. The door was glass, and you could have thrown something through it should something like that happen. But still,
Right.
there
You
was
had a
and there was.
slightly extended stay.
Mm.
Are you
Okay,
sure
so
it wasn't tempered?
let's define our terms. A fail safe door opens up when there's an emergency. A fail secure door locks when there's an emergency.
Mm.
However,
See, now,
go ahead.
Yeah. Now, in that case, Josh, I don't know whether if there was an emergency, if a fire alarm were to go off, if that door were to automatically
Unlock.
fail.
Yeah, but for the same reason that we don't put double throw deadbolts in houses anymore. Double throw deadbolt has a key on both sides.
right?
A
Yeah.
single throw deadbolt has a key on the outside and a turn bolt.
Mhm.
You know that you don't have to have a key to turn on the inside.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Dude, that's dangerous as hell. What happens if you just somebody badges you in to get you in, and then they go to the bathroom and get on a phone call and forget about you and leave? You're locked in the office overnight.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yep.
Not cool.
Mhm.
Or cool
This
if you really
reminds
wanted
me-
to be in the office all night,
Right.
Do some
Seriously.
industrial espionage, but
Reminds me of the New Zealand airport. When you try to leave New Zealand, they will charge you $100 to leave.
Because
I guess they
Just
like
a
money.
tax.
But I mean,
Yeah.
do they really want me staying there because I'm broke? But anyway,
That's like
Right.
New Jersey, the only state that charges you to leave because everybody wants to. But
It's true.
I want to
Yeah,
add a
'cause
separate
yeah,
point. I'm sorry
Go
about
ahead,
the wave to open, because using a wheelchair at times and having the service animal, I do enjoy that the wave to open has taken over a lot of the more modern ADA doors.
okay,
That is fantastic. Of course, that's literally a public egress area. This is not, we're not talking about secure situations. But I do have some very deep trauma from an ADA door injuring me recently, and it was a wave to open, and so I'm really sad that you brought this up right now.
Oh,
Yeah. Sorry, Mandy, that stinks. It's supposed to be waved to open for safety features, except when the door closes on you and gives
Except
you a
when the door
bruise on your shin.
malfunctions and goes whap.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
Which had nothing to do with the wave to open. That was just the door.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain places where I think automatic lawsuit, Mandy would be a millionaire, and we'd be lucky to be able to get it on our calendar. But
Right.
apparently, this wasn't one of those.
We can talk after the show. We'll see. I mean, maybe
Hey,
Jeff will adopt me now.
Does anyone use the robotic vacuums? Or had a robotic
like a Roomba?
vacuum? Yeah.
Besides you, Paul?
Yeah.
I've a long history of robotic vacuums. It's actually my wife. Is that background noise coming
Jeff, mute.
from? Well, that was like
Is it
all of a
airplane
sudden.
or
Jeff,
something?
that was
Not me.
not me.
Okay, it's gone.
Oh.
My wife has, I think, bought one of the first like Roomba vacuums for me or for us for the house.
For her.
And it was an iRobot Roomba. And since then, there's been an explosion of every single company makes robotic vacuums now. In that, I for reasons the article really didn't get into, iRobot, the company behind the Roomba brand, is coming under some hard times. Likely one of the things the article said was due to the flooding of the market of these robotic vacuums. I've owned ones from Shark, Dbot, Samsung makes one. So everyone makes these vacuums now. They break all the time, by the way. So if you're going to buy one, get a warranty on it because it will break at any given time. But so they're talking about this Roomba apocalypse that if iRobot goes out of business, a lot of these vacuums, communicate to the cloud. We've covered stories on that before.
Yep.
So the article says folks like us have little to fear should the Roomba apocalypse come to pass. Between years of existing projects demonstrating how older bots can be modified and the current and future software being developed to control the newer internet-aware Roombas over the local network, they've got all our bases covered. And the article did a great job of covering all of the research and hacking projects people have done to hack these robotic vacuums, largely from iRobot. So my question is so now let's say iRobot does fold, and we get even more people hacking these systems because they have to if they want them to function in a certain way beyond just pushing the button and being a vacuum, which to me is totally fine. But if you want to get more fans, so I feel like there could be more hacking projects. So what type of security related projects can we do? Right? Can we put Wi-Fi and Bluetooth radios on these and have them roam around our home and give me signal strength telemetry, or tell me about new devices joining and have it wandering around? Does it wander around and look for Wi-Fi or Bluetooth attacks? I think there's some cool possibilities here for hacking these. Maybe you'd unleash one on a pen test, right? Maybe you do get in the door and you just unleash your Roomba, and it just runs around and vacuums the place.
Vacuum the house and war drive it at the same time.
Yeah, vacuum the house and shovel me a shell. What's better than that?
Can it make you a sandwich?
No.
Then it's not. Sorry.
Presto, you're a sandwich.
You didn't say pseudo. If you use pseudo, it might.
Actually, it's interesting. What I was actually thinking is that, they become unusable. There's going to become a cottage industry of replacement firmware. And I don't know how many people are going to wind up, installing the bogus one because they don't know how to make sure it's legit. But I mean, yeah, your handy person down the block will be able to, give you fresh firmware and a new app for your Roomba, and you're off to the races.
Yeah, it'll be like people that used to mod Xbox. I guess still do mod Xboxes for various purposes. It'd be like your mod my vacuum for me, right?
Yeah.
Wait, you want a Claymore added to it? What?
Well,
put a screen on it. You could put maybe a screen on it,
you
LCD
could plug
screen.
the Roomba into your damn it, now I can't think of the name of it. The device.
Your flipper.
Yeah, you plug your Roomba into your flipper,
There you go.
Well,
Too
wait a
bad
minute.
you can't buy a flipper anymore.
You could put a flipper on the Roomba and have it drive around and RFID things for you.
Put a flipper on the Roomba and have it drive down the block and start everybody's car.
I'm telling you, this is going to be cool. There's going to be some cool projects. Just I'm throwing it out there.
No, actually, it's interesting. I'm wondering how much. I know we talked about this before. I'm trying to remember how much horsepower there is in the Roomba in terms of processing and capability.
Some of them in the article said they were ESP32s, microcontrollers on them.
Yeah,
on the other
I think
hand,
the
you've
one
got
we covered like 2 weeks ago was ESP32.
Yep.
Well, on the other hand, you've got what, about a 14, 15 inch across circle that's self-propelled that you could make a hell of a mounting platform for whatever the hell.
Right. That's what I want. Maybe like a pole with a screen on it, and then it can like display the weather or something. Telemetry. You flip through screens, show me my Wi-Fi health, the weather, news. I don't know.
True.
It'd be cool
Or
stuff
for
you
some
could
of
do.
our hacker brethren, if you just go ahead and attach some like air freshener and let it roll around, it would help.
Right. I could roam around conferences and spray
You're
air
hallucinating,
freshener.
Mandy.
I'm hallucinating. Yeah, it's true. I have been accused of being AI.
But yeah.
Well, speaking of that, let's talk about story number 8 for whose was that? Sam story number 8. All the way down at the bottom.
Yeah.
All of my employees are AI agents, and so are my executives.
Oh yeah, that was. I see they've renumbered my things, but anyway, this was interesting. It was a guy that just wanted to research it, and so he made a company completely of AIs. He gave them personality and gave them a memory, and then set them to work, and they just did what you'd think. They made up lies about funding that didn't exist, about features that didn't exist, about tests that didn't exist. They made up lies about going hiking on the weekend and doing visits and stuff. It's all just complete nonsense. And this is the thing that nobody seems to understand about AIs.
Is it though? Or is that what some startups actually do? Is it just mimicking real life?
It is, of course, mimicking real life. But the thing nobody understands is that the AIs don't understand anything they're saying. They're just treating the words as like mathematical constructs and repeating other words that go with them. So it's not intelligence, it's intelligence emulation.
It's zeros and ones going in and zeros and ones coming out.
Well, so are we, to be fair about that. But
yeah, it's true.
But I mean, it was an interesting story. And I think it shows, as everyone's going to AI agents, this is the risk that they don't like to talk about, is that the damn things don't understand anything you tell them. They don't understand what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
The only way people understand how to use them is to treat them like humans. And there's a fundamental flaw there.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Nothing could go wrong.
No. I get frustrated when I'm calling somewhere and I get an AI answering it.
Hi, my name is Mary. I'll be taking your appointment today. How can I help you today? Mandy, I see that your records show that you've had an eye appointment recently. Would you like an appointment for a new eye exam?
The man's like, no, I've spent enough time with the eye doctor.
I've spent, I guess it was actually 8 or 9 hours in the last 2 days. I'm good, thanks.
Yes.
I want to talk about ASUS for a moment. There's a new critical severity authentication bypass in some DSL routers. And when I was digging into this one, there are indicators that exploits exist for this particular vulnerability. The article I linked to comes from Bleeping Computer. This is being tracked as CVE 2025-59367. Remote unauthenticated attackers can log in to devices and doesn't require user interaction. Mm-hmm. Now, when I was looking at the records, when I dug into it, the sysvulnrichment has a field for proof of concept available, and that flag was basically set to true, right? So I think in the JSON, it's like exploit and colon and then POC. I'm like, that's cool. If you've got a POC or know that one exists, why don't you give a link to it? But they don't. In the data, there's no field in the sysvulnrichment, at least that I could find, for a URL to the proof of concept. So I dug, actually my tool that I'm working on actually discovered links to GitHub that links to what is some flag as an exploit for it, but it's really just like a README file that says there's a vulnerability. And if you read that, it says there's a bypass. Use alternate auth path, parentheses, details in the ASUS advisory. If you go read the ASUS advisory, there's no details whatsoever. I mean, to say there's no details in the ASUS is an understatement. Like literally, ASUS just says, there's a vulnerability. You should apply a firmware fix to update it. Okay, thanks for that. So I guess it's time to patch diff and find the actual vulnerability. But the fact that SIS is indicating a proof of concept exists, but doesn't provide any evidence, like, are we just supposed to trust them that a proof of concept exists? Like, how do we validate that if there is no proof of concept? Then it's just a matter of trust, which I don't like this scenario. And I mean, for ASUS, kind of like a whatever, but in an enterprise product, that matters in my decision making, whether or not a proof of concept exists or not. Perhaps, maybe to some, maybe not to others, but this matters. So who do we trust about?
Well, the degree of trust could be part of your risk equation. Do they have an established track record? Are they usually right, wrong? Are they usually spot on? I mean, there are ways to determine the degree of trust you should apply to them.
Right. Right now, what's your degree of trust with CISA? I mean, given was it CISA that slashed a whole bunch of jobs and now they're starting to add back in? I saw that headline. Did someone post that?
All of the federal government, but
yeah,
CISA being what branch?
I didn't post it. Well, I was thinking about another way. If the difference between there's a proof of concept or we've seen we've monitored 7,312 attempted exploits of this flaw.
Agreed. There's to me there's a few different levels to the exploit, right? There's a proof of concept exists, which is just that, proof of concept. There's a weaponized exploit that like actually works and you can accomplish a goal with it. And then there's active exploitation. So not just does an exploit exist, is it weaponized, but people are actually using it in the wild. Those are kind of the three basic levels that I use. So when I aggregate vulnerability data in my new tool, and I pull from all different sources, and so I can easily kind of at a glance with a quick sort go, that's a critical vulnerability on the CVSS scale. It's on the CISA Kev, which gives me a higher degree of confidence that someone's exploiting it. And then I'm like, is there a public exploit available? Go search these sources, and it'll list the public exploits.
Why do you trust any of these external sources, Paul? Why don't you do the research on your own?
I don't. That's why I aggregate them together to get that picture. And now I have a lot of information to go on if I want to then like research it myself and go, oh, well, someone published an exploit here. Like, let me look at that exploit code. Maybe I want to test that exploit code, right? Maybe I want to validate some of those sources. But there's a lot of great like open source sources to collect information about these vulnerabilities, which rightfully so, we question the validity of that data. I also question my own vibe coded tool because it hallucinates all the time and is terribly inaccurate in a lot of different ways until I fix it, right? But I think it's interesting.
What you need to do is add a feature to your tool that will automatically test the exploit by hacking things and tell you the results. That would be swell.
That'd be awesome, dude, right? Like, hey, show me this ASUS exploit, and then push a button like validate, and it goes to Shodan and enumerates all the targets, goes and gets the exploit, and gives me, hey, there's 4,000 targets on the internet, and 80% of those were vulnerable. I think it's a great feature. Claude would totally build that for me too, right?
Grok would.
Yeah, right. Yeah, depending on your model, which AI system you're using. Yep.
Well, I want to hear about the story about Rust, which is Lee's number 3.
Ooh, nice.
So there was actually a couple of stories about Rust, but basically, about a year ago, Google said, we're going to go to memory safe. We're starting to do things in Rust. And we've hit a tipping point where the safety bugs, memory safe bugs is down below 20%, which is a huge step. That still means there's a bunch of stuff out there. And moreover, more and more pieces of not just other stuff, but like some of the first-party apps in Android are being rewritten in Rust. First-party apps being like the Google Messenger, the Google provided apps, and apparently the kernel 6.12 is going to have Rust support due out soon. So it's like they're really jumping on the memory safe code, which I think is great. Memory vulnerabilities. I mean, we've been talking about them for years. I mean, I know any language out there, I can create crappy code, and I can create secure code. But if
Lee, we're where you can create crappy code in anything. It's not a problem.
Wait, sorry, Lee. Which kernel version did you say?
I think it's 6.12
or 6.17 or 6.18.
Maybe. I
6.16
might have copied it wrong. I thought I may have gotten a little too carried away while I was drinking my coffee.
Yeah, that's all right. I think on my Manjaro systems, I'm running 6.16. I want to say there's a 6.17, but I don't trust it yet.
But
I think that their next version they're working on is 6.18. And I'm not sure where Rust falls. I know they've been working on. It's a lot of controversy around it too, but they're working on rewriting portions of the Linux kernel and Linux kernel components in Rust, which is good. I mean, memory safety is certainly important, but as we shore up memory safety, like thank God for authentication bypass and command injection or path traversal, because that doesn't involve memory corruption.
What I'll do is I'm going to edit that story and add the Google blog link on it, which
so kernel 6.12 was the first version with Rust support. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's relatively, depending on which Linux distro you're on, that could be not even available yet or the running version.
Yeah.
Running Manjaro, I'm on more of a bleeding edge of kernel versions, but.
Yeah. There we go. So but basically, yeah, I just think it's cool. It's moving forward. I mean, like I said, when I first saw that a year ago, I was kind of like, really? Is that really going to take off? And it is. And I
think for apps like Chrome, Lee, do you think that memory safety is more important, obviously, than a web application, right?
Well, I think wherever you can, you want memory safety because
agreed.
That's all kinds of things, including buffer overloads, are exploiting memory. So anything you can do to make it more secure, great. But is it the panacea for all that's evil? No, it's one tool.
Because I'm going to, was it Sam? You had the Fortiweb vulnerability, and I happened to be read up on the Fortiweb vulnerabilities, and there were two recent ones. Both are on the SysAkev. Yes. One is critical. One is ranked high. I think it's 64446 is the critical one that is in a path traversal that allows you to run commands inside of the web application. So it exposes a CGI application that essentially gives you the same capabilities as if you were like in the web interface clicking around on stuff. So it's not OS command injection. It's like application command injection through a path traversal attack, which gives you the capability to, the Watchtower Labs proof of concept, add a new user. What's interesting is memory safety is not going to help you. You could have the most memory safe application, but if in your app you have a path traversal, I can now, as an attacker, I can add myself a new user. And you might be like, okay, well, that's great. You can control the application, Paul, but you still haven't been able to control the underlying operating system. The next silently patched, by the way, vulnerability from Fortinet in the Fortiweb product line is an authenticated OS command injection vulnerability. So you beautifully chain these two together. You use the first one to add your user account. Now you're authenticated. You use the second vulnerability to inject commands in the operating system, and Bob's your uncle. Nowhere in memory safety is that helping you. And it also underscores the point of chaining vulnerabilities together being really, really a super bad kind of thing, of which we don't have a great facility to this day to track. These are individually scored, right?
Right.
The second one that's authenticated naturally in any of the three CVSS scoring metrics is going to score lower because it requires authentication. And so I think that one's like a 7 point something, and the path traversal is like a 9 point
9.8.
9.8, right?
Right.
And so if you're just patching the 9.8, are you in better shape? But really, you need to be patching both.
Those code scanners might catch these. A code scanner
I agree.
can detect command injection because it says user data is going in here without being sanitized first, and it ought to be able to detect path traversal. I think so, because it's the same thing. Something controlled by the user goes in here without sanitizing it first. So I think if you ran this through like check marks, it would have helped you.
It might have. A skilled pen tester with Burp Suite could certainly have much better results, in my opinion, especially if you know how to use like Intruder and the fuzzers in Burp Suite. Those are awesome for fleshing out these kind of bugs. And that's a whole art and science, in and of itself.
But did you catch?
But I think if you made your code scan clean with a phone scanner, you're
in much better shape. Well, you're in much better shape, certainly. Yeah, Lee.
Yeah.
So,
but people don't. People just pay attention to the high results, as you say, and then the two low results that add up to a high would not get caught.
Right.
Yeah. So it does turn out multiple versions of Fortinet have this fixed. But one of the cool things Watchtower did, aside from talking about the details about the exploit, is they actually created a detection tool that actually attempts to create a username and password.
Yep.
And it tells you what username and what password is created. So this is not a secret.
It's username is user and the password is user in their script.
Is it? The one I saw actually was numbers.
Dear God.
Oh,
whatever.
Really? The one it's great.
You can see if you can apply the facts and see if it actually, you could do it before and after, right? Which is kind of cool. You could actually prove to yourself that that particular vulnerability is fixed.
And that got tagged as an exploit, by the way, because again, I'm working on analyzing vulnerability data, and in the references in NVD enriched CVE entries, there's a references, resources, in something else section in there that lists all the links to like the vendor advisories, exploits, and it's very inconsistent, which is super annoying. There's a lot of inconsistencies in all the vulnerability data associated with the CVE. This in particular is very random, but if we had like kept up with this, if we really put effort into it, it would be great, because every reference, so a URL, gets a tag, and the tag is sometimes vendor advisory, and the tag is sometimes exploit. Well, it's super easy to scrape. I can vibe code. Actually did vibe code something that scrapes it. So I'm like, if the NVD record has a URL and it has a tag of exploit, increment my counter for exploits available for that particular vulnerability. I didn't have to go cross-reference anything. It's just baked into the NVD data, which, by the way, if you register for an account, you can get an API key and you can query that data yourself. There's also GitHub repositories where you can build a local database of that as well. And some of that data is enriched really well. The problem is a lot of it is not enriched very well. Sysvol enrichment enriches about 119,000 of the 300 plus thousand CVEs that are in existence, right? And other projects like POC and GitHub is a GitHub repository that tracks any proof of concept exploit that get published to GitHub in a bunch of JSON files. That's got about 19,000 exploits or whatever, right? So we're like, none of it is comprehensive. You have to piece together all these different sources. But for the Fortinet ones, I was using those to actually test my tool, which is why I was like so familiar, because I actually covered it on my other podcast too, the Below the Surface podcast. And so it was interesting to look at the data and see where the exploits were coming from. But so my point was the Watchtower one was flagged as an exploit, not as a testing tool. It was actually, I think it is tagged in the NVD data as an exploit, not as some other tool. I don't know if there's a tag for tool.
And actually in the Watchtower tool, it does print the prompt, exploit set successfully.
Right. So they basically released an exploit for it. It's Python code that it exploits a vulnerability to create a new user. To me, that's an exploit.
Right. And
hey, Sam had a story that I posted on his behalf that we recorded in the future next week. Something about the Hope Conference. Tell us about it, Sam.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunately we don't have a lot of details, but I went to Hope. I went to St. John's. It's really nice. But after it was over, St. John's kicked him out because somebody left a flyer with an anti-police message, which one of my friends says this is probably about that ICE tracker app. But anyway, now they got kicked out of St. John's for being anti-police without any due process or any clear accusation or anything, which I say is pretty common at colleges. This is usually how college administration acts, just sort of by a knee-jerk response to anything controversial.
They tend to like drop the ban hammer, right? Like something bad happens, it ban it, get rid of it. Not happening, not on our campus anymore.
And to be fair, it's a conference it's not part of a class. It's not part of their main mission. So they say, well, this isn't really important to us. And if it's making trouble, get rid of them. I can understand that.
Yeah. No, I
but
can't
banning
really
them
argue
next
with that.
year and forever. That's kind of awkward.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it might lead to Hope being delayed by a year because, they do need to plan these things about a year in advance. Remember, same thing happened at DEF CON, right? They got kicked out of the casinos and had to go to the conference center. And again, it's a real scramble when that changes. You need about a year of advance notice for a thing like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and it looks like it wasn't even somebody affiliated with the company. It was an attendee, left some pamphlets.
Yeah, but to be fair, Hope is very political, very ultra-left, very anti-government, and very anti-police. It's a fair rap.
Well, no,
but there's also, it's also free speech kind of thing too.
Yeah.
Right? Which I would think in a university environment, they would encourage free speech regardless of the viewpoint. Like put the viewpoint aside for a moment. We live in a country that's founded on
universities have had issues with free speech over the last year or two, Paul. I don't know.
To be fair, it's a Catholic university with pictures of Jesus everywhere. So they might have a conservative position. I'm not sure.
It's a Jesuit university. I've taught there.
Okay.
My father taught there for 41 years. It's a Jesuit university. They actually are very progressive in a lot of ways. And they will argue with the Catholic Church quite happily. They're lovely people that run that place typically. When you read the article, it's that some people went around the people working with the conference and they sort of spun this story quite a bit.
Yep.
So they may be banned from SJU, but it's because it went above the people, like immediately went above the people actually liaisoning with the conference. So I don't.
It's
I
a
don't
real
really
shame
blame,
because it's a really nice place to have the con, and it's
it's a
real hard
lovely
to find
university.
in New York City. Yeah, it's hard to find a good place to do this in New York
Yeah,
City.
agreed.
Yeah.
That's cost effective, right? I'm sure the university was way more cost effective than a lot of other options, right?
Always.
Oh, yeah.
And free speech arguments aside and university politics and culture aside, it would have been nice to have a conversation and some kind of process behind it and not just drop the ban hammer. Like come to the conference and say, hey, look, we found this and it's upsetting to our university environment. It's contradictory to our mission. Like, can we find some middle ground? Can we find a way to still allow you to be here, to have free speech and work together? It sounds like those conversations didn't happen, which is kind of a shame.
Yeah.
And particularly at a Jesuit university. I mean, my experience with the folks in the Jesuit background, they're really big on educating themselves, educating others.
Yeah, it's just an unfortunate situation. Who knows? There could have been other factors behind it.
I'm sure.
Maybe they weren't
always two
happy with
sides.
Maybe that was just an excuse. Maybe they were like, we weren't happy for maybe a list of other reasons, and this was just like the reason they could use to kick them out.
I'm doing this at my college, and the trick is to make it part of a course. If you have a professor on the inside that makes it part of a course, then you can get away with almost anything.
Because the university will come back to the professor, and the professor will be like, "No, this is fine," or "I'll talk to the thing," or whatever.
They can talk to me, and I can deal with the problems. Then you have a champion inside the system, and then getting rid of it would actually be messing with a course, which is part of a curriculum and a degree and all that.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
So that would be the other solution. They should just get some professor at St. John's to make this part of a course.
They need a sponsor. Yeah.
It's not easy. B-Sides Delaware ran at UDel, and each of the last 2 years that we've been there, we've had issues. We've had issues with administration. We've had issues with faculty, and yet we bring incredible value to these colleges. I don't understand it, but it's the amount of politics and the amount of ego at any university I mean, look, Sam's at a university, for God. No, just kidding, Sam.
Yeah, but Josh, also, but you bring up a great point. Like, there's a lot of politics per se, like at play, but for the university, it's great marketing. Especially a lot of these conferences, like Hope is pretty low cost, accessible conference. Students, potential students, right, are all coming to visit this campus. It's almost like a campus visit. You're bringing people onto your campus. I mean, that's basically marketing that you're getting paid for,
and more
which is
importantly,
invaluable.
For example, at UDEL, I hooked up, I think, 4 or 5 students with employers that are hiring actual entry level jobs.
Yeah.
And so, if you can prove that your student body is getting hired because of these kinds of events, it immensely improves your ability to gain more students into your student body.
If I were advising the university, I'd be like, and they have a cybersecurity program, like you want to host at least one more cybersecurity conferences, and every single one built into the contract, university recruitment gets a table at every conference to talk about the cybersecurity program. I mean, it's like a no-brainer.
Also, Hope is not even mainly cybersecurity. Hope is very artistic and theatrical and musical and everything. It would tie into a lot of college departments.
No, totally agree.
I learned how to ride a Segway at Hope.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
I did that too.
Yeah, I learned in my basement, and it was dicey.
You learned
the first time you get on a Roomba.
The first time.
All right. The first time you get a Segway is dicey.
It's 2 Roombas.
You need to 2. Maybe that's what we do with the Roombas. We'll turn them into a Segway. I want to talk about my story number 5. Before I read this article, I had never heard of Immunify 360 AV. Now, to answer your question, Paul, what is Immunify 360 AV? It's a malware scanning system designed specifically for Linux web servers, widely used by hosting providers and server administrators. I'm told there's like 56 million instances of this software that I had never heard of before. So,
what?
That's interesting. Yeah. I believe the article said.
Are you joking?
Was there 56 million instances of it?
Holy crap.
Yeah. So it's a security product protecting approximately 56 million websites worldwide.
I'm in the wrong friggin' business, man. Jesus.
Right?
But what percentage of websites is that? Just to put it in context.
That's a good...
I'm guessing it's a small percentage.
Dear AI, how many websites are there, and what percentage is 56 million of that? Someone do.
Mandy,
so while I'm
do you have an answer?
Yeah, while you're doing that,
I thought you were doing it, so I didn't. I was like, I'll hold back this time.
Everyone, there's a name for that where everyone thought someone else was doing it.
I think I've seen this in action. When I went to GoDaddy, somebody had a site had been hacked, and I needed to get the logs, and their account didn't let me run command lines, so I was uploading PHP shells, and they would just vanish until I obfuscated them, and then they wouldn't vanish anymore. So it had some kind of AV running on it.
So there was no CVE issued for this particular security advisory, which is very sad. And the company quietly made a post about it on its support forum, which is not good. Also not good, the article says that the vulnerability stems from when processing malicious files, the deobfuscator can invoke dangerous PHP functions, including system exec, shell exec, pass-through, and eval, enabling arbitrary command execution and a complete compromise of the hosting environment. Attackers can embed specially crafted, love that term, specially crafted, obfuscated PHP code that triggers Immunity AV's deobfuscation signatures. So right to your point, Sam.
So I wouldn't say they were protecting those websites, Bob.
Okay,
they were providing a shell for attackers to those websites. It gets worse. So more bad news.
Wait, I want to give perspective on this real quick. Let's go back to Jeff's point. So according to Gemini and recent estimates, there are over 1.1 billion websites. However, about 200 million are active. And if that means this is affecting a quarter of the active ones?
A quarter of the active websites.
Well, are we assuming that these are 56 million are all active?
Well,
that's an interesting point, Jeff.
I mean, if they're paying Immunify 360 AV.
Wait, Paul, how many gym memberships do you have that you don't actually go to the gym?
That's true. Totally true. I get that. But it gets worse. The worst part is more bad news. by default, the scanner runs as a service with root privileges. So,
Well, it probably has
that's
to.
handy.
that's great.
That's normal for AV.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
That's okay. It's
This-
running in my
but this
Docker
is like-
container, which is running as root anyway. So
God.
I just
Oh,
the
God.
thing that bugs me the most though is no CVE was issued, and when no CVE is issued, shit flies under the radar.
yeah, I mean,
That's not good. This is not good. Everything we described about this vulnerability and the impact and the pervasiveness of this, like who it affects. We have this like metric that we're working on, right? Like how many, like what's the impact? Not impact, but what's the prevalence of this software or this vulnerability, right? What's the impact? Is it who's using it and why are they using it? What sectors are they in, right? Can this be weaponized? Can it be automated?
Has
of these are
anybody
kind of-
died yet?
Has anyone died? Could people die as a result? So again, like you make this list, like this one kind of checks like a lot of those boxes. Like it's very widespread, it's very impactful, it's easy to exploit. It gives you root privileges. This is bad. This is bad. And the irony, the software that's supposed to protect your website has a vulnerability.
Well, I would take the 56 million and divide it into the first number that Mandy gave, the billion something.
1.1 billion.
yeah, that's
Which-
5% basically.
Okay.
Is it 5% or 0.5? But I'm
Yeah,
never
the same
been good
number
at
of
math.
desktops that are running Linux.
No, Linux
Ouch.
probably less. Probably percentage-wise less, Sam. It's going to correct you on that. Linux is still about 3 to 5%.
So it's probably somebody's school project, and they thought hey, this kind of works, and so they put it out there, and they've got a reasonable base, but it's a small
I don't
percentage
think so,
of all
though.
the websites.
I think I haven't researched the company.
But you'd
Jeff.
never heard of it either, and none of us have.
I have not heard of it, and I have not researched it. But like,
I wonder if
they've
they, well, probably none of
That's
us care,
free,
but
so it's
I wonder if
free.
they, well, of course,
no, I don't think it's free. You got to pay for this. It's a commercial product. Hold on.
I wonder if they
Pricing.
protect a certain type of website and maybe like an e-commerce site, and they're checking a box for some standard or compliance
They're fucking
framework.
add-on at
No,
GoDaddy or
it's
something similar, I'm sure.
It's a free
So get
malware
this.
scanner for Linux servers on their website.
But the
Interesting.
pricing says for a single user, it's $144 a year, and then it basically goes up to from there. Unlimited users, $540 per year. So it's inexpensive website protection.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I had one thing to bring up
Yeah.
as a
Last item.
segue to Bryce. I happened to notice this because my son-in-law's sister lives in Australia, and she was posting on Facebook. She was talking about how her teenage kids are getting ready for the ban, and I'm like, "What ban?"
Yeah,
Australia
under 16
is banning
under 16.
social media for I think children 13 and under,
under 16.
or is it under 16?
Yeah, under 16 is what the
And
article said.
what was funny was her kids are exchanging their phone numbers with their friends because they're planning on texting. And he's like, "Wasn't that what you used to do in the old days?" And she's like, "Well, I didn't actually have a phone when I was your age because they didn't exist yet." But
Yeah, all they're going to do is find alternate methods, which is it's interesting. I think we've had this conversation before. You know, kids today here in the U.S., right? They're using mostly Snapchat to communicate, maybe TikTok to communicate and provide that social media platform. If
Yep.
you take those things away,
I think Snapchat's
And they come to one of us.
Did 42 seconds ago. I think it's more.
Yeah.
Based on my experience with the people that live in our basement, it's TikTok.
yeah. But then, like, I hesitate to describe to children under the age of 16 how to use Signal with disappearing messages to communicate because it's more secure than all these other social media platforms, right? It's end-to-end encrypted. It has the benefit of the disappearing messages. It's kind of platform agnostic, right? Doesn't matter if you're Android or iPhone. It wipes out. It solves a whole bunch of problems for them, but not necessarily in a good way if you're a parent and trying to monitor those particular communication mechanisms. So it could, I guess my point is it could force kids in Australia to find alternatives that can better hide their communications from monitoring, which is be more
is the goal, isn't it?
Maybe that's the goal. I mean, maybe it's just the internal communications and you're not exposing them to all of the crap on social media, which I get. I get. I'm not a fan of dropping the band hammer on anything, but I also get how unhealthy social media is for humans in general, right? Especially those under the age of 16.
Well, a generation ago, I used to argue with people about the content that was on television back in the days when it was broadcast and networks, not so much all the streaming stuff.
Right.
And I remember going to a concerned user community kind of meeting of parents, and they kept going on and on about it. And I finally raised my hands like, has anybody thought about just turning the TV off? And they're like, oh, that was just, nobody had thought about that.
Oh, Jeff, so this is a page right out of my playbook.
Mm-hmm.
While there's a lot of technology at my disposal, and I have a certain skill set in technology, not saying I know everything. I might know a couple things maybe, but when it comes to my kids and devices, I'm like, I'll take that and it goes in the safe,
right,
for a period of time. Right. That could be based on the content they're consuming. That could be based on their behavior. That could be based on their grades, whatever. But I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of technology solutions. Also, dad's a hacker and they talk to dad about hacking and they learn hacking. So the technological solutions I put in place frequently get hacked. So the physical,
my family grew up with an implied consent to monitoring. Let's just say
that too. They know they're monitored, but also they know that the device just might go away. TV might get turned off. The internet might get turned off. The Wi-Fi might get, or it might just take your device and put it in the safe, and then it's done.
I used to love it when they would just hand me the device and yes. Kids and devices. That's the segue.
We have a guest.
We have a kid with a device.
Yeah.
With a device. Yeah. We're just going to take a very short break. Come back with Bryce. Stay tuned. It's going to be super fun. Welcome back, everyone. I'd like to introduce our very special guest for this segment. Bryce Owen is a high school junior with an impressive experience in cybersecurity and hardware hacking. He's the creator of the Space Badge from DEF CON 33, which has been celebrated at multiple cybersecurity conferences across the country. He also serves as the president of his school's Cyber Patriot Club and captain of their national team that placed 8th in the country at the March 2025 Cyber Patriot Finals in Washington, D.C. Bryce is very much a hardware hacker. He does soldering. He does ESP32 development. He's already earned some SANS certifications as well as other certifications in our field. Well on your way to being an amazing member of our cybersecurity community. Bryce, welcome to Paul's Security Weekly.
Thanks for inviting me on.
It's great to have you, man. I want to just start out because, I look at your background that you have there, which is the deck of one of the Star Trek Enterprise spaceships. If I was a true Star Trek
which
nerd,
version is it, Paul?
That looks like next. Hold on, wait. All right, time out. Next Generation? Is that Next Generation?
Yes.
That's Next Generation. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
but which
almost had my nerd card pulled right there.
Yeah, you did.
When we did the prep call, you had a Star Wars T-shirt on. Bryce, how did you get tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into some of the
how are you planning on getting into cybersecurity?
Yeah,
we usually ask how people got their start.
Right.
How do you plan on starting?
I have a couple of ideas. I don't know how well each of them are going to work, but my first idea is I keep practicing through the rest of high school, gaining more certifications. I'm part of a program called ICSI here in Texas, where you get at least one certification per year if you actually try to do the class. And so I'm currently doing Security Plus. So that'll be at the end of this year.
Nice.
As well, on the same note, I practice Cyber Patriot there. So when we finish the semifinals round, I believe, Cyber Patriot hosts not Cyber Patriot, sorry. Cyber Texas holds pretty much they call it a luncheon. I don't know if that is the right term, but they call it the Cyber Patriot Cup luncheon, and the teams that go to nationals will sometimes get internships. So I got one last year for when I'm in college. So that's going to be a pretty helpful jumpstart.
So wait, you already have an internship lined up for when you go to college?
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
All right, everybody that complains about not being able to get an internship,
I know, right?
there you go.
Try to pull something from offensive security. Try harder.
Yeah, right.
Clearly, Bryce is trying harder.
Well, he
For
is,
sure,
and
dude.
his dad's also supporting him in this. You know, it's like I saw them with a week's notice. They showed up at B-Sides, Delaware. They went to they practically lived down in Wireless Village and had I think you had a blast. I mean, did you enjoy yourself there, Bryce?
A lot, yes. I had a ton of fun.
Yeah, I mean, all Renee had to say to me was, "Hey, I met a high school student that developed a badge and like 3D printed the case," and I'm like, "Well, we got to have him on the show." Like that was all it took, man. So like, I mean, it's awesome that you're doing certifications, doing Cyber Patriot, lighting up internships, but I can tell you, is like someone's been in cybersecurity for a long time that looks to hire people. If you come to me and say, well, I developed this badge thing and I found the hardware and I wrote a bunch of the code and I 3D printed the case, that carries so much weight, Bryce. And so I guess my first question is like, what was the motivation for you to actually start on this project of creating a conference badge?
My dad will agree that this story is a little strange but funny. So my first time at DEF CON was DEF CON 32 when they had the cat electronic badge.
Yep.
I don't have one with me, but they had the cool cat badge, and I saw that and I thought that was really cool. So we're going around the conference and I see a bunch of badges that aren't the cat badge. I see the aerospace badge, the Lockheed badge,
Sure.
whatever other badges people have come up with. And I eventually come to the realization that, hey, you can just make them.
Yeah.
So on the plane back
Yes.
from DEF CON,
Badge life is a thing.
on the plane back from DEF CON, yeah, I linked up with Badge Life at DEF CON 33, but
to do this, out of 30,000 people at DEF CON, there's a dozen badges, maybe 20 badges a year, and you did one? A junior in high school does a badge pretty much all by himself and hands it out at 3 conferences so far. How many conferences have you handed these out at?
At least 3, yeah.
Yeah. Not bloody bad, dude.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty good, Bryce. Yeah, that's an understatement.
So my question is, what does it do?
Yeah,
All right.
tell us about it. Yeah, tell us about the hardware.
I don't have one, and I'm
Yeah,
jealous,
Larry hasn't been cued in. So yeah, tell us in our audience, Bryce, like take us through like the design, like hardware, software, 3D printing.
Well, first, Paul, what's it modeling?
I was going to say that. Never mind.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's so many places we could go. Like,
What is that
Right,
thing?
let's talk about hardware, software, 3D printed. Like, how did take us through the process?
Okay. Hardware side, I actually have a lot of the boards that we tested. So originally this was an SAO, which is why the original boards were just these tiny little ESP32s.
Yep.
And they slowly got larger and larger screens.
Right.
Larry, you're drooling.
I am. Sorry.
At one point, I was screwing around with like a full gamepad, and then realized that I did not know how to do electrical engineering. The wiring was difficult, but eventually I settled on the ESP32S3 from Waveshare with a 2.8-inch touchscreen because it
beautiful platform,
works
Bryce.
well.
It's a great choice. Yeah, it's a great choice. I have one. I haven't done anything with it, so you're one upping me on in that department on the Waveshare platform.
So, Paul, a 17-year-old is kicking your butt. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much. Yes.
Just to be clear,
100%.
Was there any doubt?
So, Bryce, tell us about what the badge does. Tell us about the software. What type of stuff's on it?
So let me turn off badge mode real quick. So the main point of the badge is that it's got LCARs, but if you can read those numbers there, those are XP values. So there are 6 different games. As you play them, you gain XP, and XP is important because it allows you to unlock more of these avatars. I don't know how good that shows up on the camera, but you can unlock more avatars, and all of the badges are designed to mesh network together using painless mesh. So, yeah, Josh, that's badge mode right there. If you look at Josh's camera, so all of the boards mesh together. So when you're near buddies or your buddies are in range of the mesh, then when you play in a crew together, if your friends do well, you gain more XP. If your friends do poorly, you gain less, which incentivizes you to A, help them get better, and B, shout at them if they do poorly, which are 2 things that I love doing.
Or pick a better crew.
Or pick a better crew.
And Bryce, the mesh networking that's on these badges, I know there's a lot of different technologies we could choose to do some type of mesh networking. What did you choose for that technology?
I was using the Painless Mesh library. It works over Wi-Fi. There were a couple other that I attempted to implement. At one point, I tried grabbing, I'm forgetting what it's called.
Meshtastic?
Yes, Meshtastic. I tried implementing
but you'd have to add a radio. You'd have to add a radio to enable the LoRa communications, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you did just Wi-Fi,
well.
So you're just using the Wi-Fi on the ESP32 to do the mesh networking, which is a much cleaner solution, by the way. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, and his dad said that it was safer because with Meshtastic, there's a lot of possibilities for interference or for other things. They said, look, just using the one that's on the card, like you said, Paul, was a little cleaner, a little safer, and a little better for badges that they didn't really age restrict.
And keeps your costs down too, because
there's that.
Yeah, then you don't have to add it in.
It's an additional stuff, and yeah. Now, Bryce, the mesh technology that you use, is that proprietary to the ESP32 stuff? Is it something, or is it just like an additional layer on top of Wi-Fi?
From what I remember, it's just an additional layer. I just added the package and called setup functions, and it pretty much worked.
Awesome.
Minus a couple.
Is it? It's like is it like an Arduino library that just enables the mesh on the Wi-Fi and the ESP32?
Yeah.
Perfect. That's great. Like why I think we talked about, like, do you create your own mesh networking protocol or do you just use a library? And I think you very wisely, like you're wise beyond your years, Bryce. You're like, I have this hardware, there's a library that enables mesh on the Wi-Fi on the hardware. Why wouldn't I just use that? Like that's a great design choice in my opinion.
Before I knew about Painless Mesh and we couldn't get Meshtastic working, I was sitting there trying to design how to write a mesh system, and then it was like, oh hey, Painless Mesh is there.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, yeah,
that was good.
So it's not just a clever
It's a
name.
great choice. It's a great choice.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, for those of you that are like, oh my God, how do I get my information out there? Oh, what do I do? How do I network? He put his damn QR code in the damn badge. Okay.
Yeah, Bryce, tell us about the interface, because I've done some ESP32 development, and trying to build like menu systems on the screen and stuff like that it's very tedious. Walk us through that process, because I'm guessing that probably was the most development time was developing the interface.
Yeah. So I don't have a picture of the whiteboard, but the first step that I did was get a whiteboard out and label every single menu that needed to be created, including submenus and all that fun stuff.
Yep.
And then getting it into the badge. The library that I'm using for all of this is LVGL.
Yep.
So that helped. And then we found a random tool called Easy Studio, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think of it as Photoshop for LVGL, where you can just move your components around.
Nice.
I had to learn callbacks to get the button presses to work, and actually it uses LVGL to run the games too.
Mm-hmm.
So it was weird, but
yeah, no, it is weird. No, LVGL is dude. LVGL is weird. Programming an interface on an ESP32 that has a screen is super weird. I actually rely on AI assisted tools to like help me with that when I have to do the interface, because like it's super weird to code on a screen for an ESP32. So relying on other tools and libraries is the right way to go.
What challenges did you have, Bryce? What was interesting about this? What was the most fun or the least fun piece of building this?
I have an answer for that on hardware and software side. Software side,
I'm sure the challenge is you have plenty of answers, but go ahead.
Yeah. Software side, the hardest part for me was so there's 6 games on the badge. I wanted to make it really easy to implement, so I spent like 2 to 3 weeks writing a parent class that hosted all of the child classes so that I could call play game one time instead of checking what game you wanted to play. And I did not know I would have so many issues with that. Because it would just shout at me about uninitialized things, and I would go, it's right there.
So were you familiar with object-oriented programming before you did that, or is that how you learned object-oriented?
Yeah, I'm familiar with object-oriented. I guess I don't know how to do it in C++.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, dude. I'm right there with you.
Nobody really
we're all laughing. We're all laughing, dude. We've all been there. Yeah, we've all been there.
Not laughing at you, Bryce. Just to be clear, going, "Oh God, yes, I know that one."
Yes.
Oh dear God.
Gotcha.
So did you learned a lot making these badges?
Yes.
So and there's an ulterior motive here, but I tell people, I want to break into InfoSec. I want to break into developing. I want to break into. I'm like, go do something.
Yeah.
And they say, well, what should I do? And now I've got something to show them. Go do something like this, damn it.
Go make a badge.
Go make a badge.
Do something.
So,
yeah.
I mean, before we go too far, I mean, you've got a lot of homage to Star Trek in that thing. How much do you want to tell us what you did, or do you want to make it a discovery for the folks and not let the cat out of the bag?
Yeah, dude. Like, well, on Lee's question, like, were you always a Star Trek fan, Star Wars fan? Like, is that something you always been into, or?
So
somebody sick the TARDIS on him.
My dad has been trying to slowly, he calls it educating us on important like IPs and things. So originally it was Star Wars. I watched most of that many years ago. And then I eventually got introduced to Star Trek, and while working on the badge, because there's 242 avatars, and there's a bunch of references to like BSG and B5, and I had no idea what those were, and my dad went, let me show you.
Oh, it's great.
Cue the marathon.
Yep.
Great job, Dad.
So, but Your case, it's one of the shuttles. Is it a particular one or just a generic shuttle?
It is based off of the original TOS Galileo shuttle.
Ah, there you go.
All right, wait, which Star Trek series and/or movie is that shuttle from?
That's original series.
Original.
Is the original series?
Galileo 7.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's from
Which is just touching me deeply.
Hey, that's awesome, dude. That's
Paul,
awesome.
Paul, that would have been the stuff that we were watching as kids.
As kid.
Yeah,
Well,
not in
it's funny.
reruns. Not in reruns.
Not in well, no. Original no,
Wow.
hold on. Original Star Trek was reruns, and it was my mom.
I'm
my
old
mom,
enough to have watched the original series.
the
when
original
it was
one.
broadcast.
My mom's old enough to
Probably
watch the
Lee.
original
That's it.
ones. My mom's a big Trekkie. And
Wait.
that's how I was introduced to Star Trek.
Original was what, in the 60s?
1966 to 1969.
Yeah.
Okay,
69.
so then, it would have been
69.
reruns for me as well. But
Reruns.
For sure. So, Bryce, while we're on the case, I suck at 3D modeling. And when I saw that you designed your own case and printed it, it's mad respect, dude. It's awesome. Take us through the process of how you approach designing and printing this case.
I may have a box next to me just for that.
Of all the failed prototypes. Oh, I love it.
Yes, I want one of those. Can I have one of the failed?
But Bryce, what you just described is very much like the heart and soul of 3D printing and developing your own models, of the trial and error process, right? I think that's what you're describing. It's a lot of trial and error to get it right.
Yeah,
Bryce, if you didn't notice, we're really kind of happy to see you because you're replicating what we all have gone through when we were younger.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's really cool to see it still able to be done.
Yeah.
Well, and I love, same in more recent years when I really started getting into cons and going, and the badges, my first F con, my other B-sides and stuff, the badges were such a clear indicator of, oh my goodness, I can be here and I can connect with people and I can learn and I can do other things. And it was interesting how badges and learning about badge life and then getting into all the different SAOs, getting into that and starting to work with different groups on developing lore, on developing things toward an entire badge that was coming out. It relieved me of some kind of stress I didn't even know I had previously. It really let me go, oh, wow, I can do so much more in this community and I can just be me. I'm curious, with DC 32 being your first DC, was that kind of it sounded like that was a similar thing for you. Was it?
I believe it was, yeah.
Yeah.
I got there and I learned you could just kind of talk to anyone. And,
Yeah.
and anyone would talk.
Don't tell.
Yep.
yeah.
Well, especially if but I think it's a great point, Bryce. If you go to a conference like DEF CON and just strike a conversation hey, what's that badge you wear? And did you create that? What went behind it? People love talking about the project that they're working on, right? It's one of the reasons I go to conferences, to connect with people and have that conversation. Hey, what are you working on? To tell me, and everyone's working on something different that they're so passionate about, and I feed off that energy. Oh, you're working on a badge, you're working on whatever. I want to hear about it, right? And then they'll reciprocate, hey, what are you working on? And then I'm oh, and then everyone lights up, I'm working on this. And that's one of the great things about going to conferences in cybersecurity, right? Sharing that passion.
I'll also say that I'm particularly impressed with Bryce with some of your time management, because given that you're going to high school and you're here on the podcast 10 minutes after you got home, and I know you have homework.
Yes, Bryce did the prep call from his high school.
Are you kidding?
Yes.
So and to the fact that you,
I don't want to get you in trouble for that. If I get you in trouble, strike that from the record. But
so the fact that Bryce, you went and did it and you learned something. Because, like, I have this amazing idea for a badge, and I will show you the prototype. Like, I've got this whole thing, like, totally worked out. But let me grab it right here. See? It's right here. It doesn't exist. Because I have so many other things that are taking up my time. I've got this great idea. I had it for years, but you did it. Like, yay. Yay.
That's awesome. Yeah. So Bryce, when you did the 3D printing design, did you have like a base model to work off that you modified, or did you start like from scratch? Because I find that for me particularly, it's overwhelming to think about like, oh, I have an idea and I have to go like create the 3D model from scratch. So did you have something to work off of that you modified, or did you literally do it from scratch?
I don't think you would believe me if I didn't have this with me right now. The original version was made of Lego.
Nice.
Yes.
That's
Awesome.
Yeah, that makes
Bring it,
total
hold it to the camera.
sense.
Hold it to the camera. Hold it to the
Original
camera.
3D
Yes.
print, the original 3D printing right there.
Yeah.
Love
And
it.
so did you use that? Did you like build that and then take measurements of it, and then that's what based your 3D model off of?
What the process for me was, I had a 2-scale printout of about the size that I wanted the badge to be, and then I modeled Lego around that so I could find out, hey, is this a good size to wear around your neck?
Right.
And
right.
does it feel at least okay to hold it like this or like this?
Mm-hmm.
So that was the
That's
original
amazing.
reason for the Lego one.
All right, you're now a full stack developer. Done. User interface and back end. Well done. 3D printing of the case. Congratulations.
And so what Bryce, what were some of the challenges with with 3D
UX
printing
developer.
That you ran into? And what kind of printer are you using in software and stuff like that? Just because I know people in the audit like listening are
Paul wants to know.
oh, I want to get into that. Yeah,
Paul wants
but
to-
also
Paul
like
wants to
people
know.
listening want to know like what's the
Me,
process?
I'm listening. I also want to know.
All right. There were many issues with printing these. The first one was each of these take forever to print. And so to try and cut down on time, I kept looking for solutions to make it print faster or to print more at a time. So one idea was printing them vertically, like this one.
Right,
you
because you can
can-
fit
you might
more
be able
on
to
the build
tell-
plate. Yeah, if they're vertical, you can fit way more on the build plate than if they're laying down. Yeah.
Yeah. But the issue that I ran into there was after about 3/4 of the way in, the total mass of 11 or 12 of these on one plate would shake so violently that the print head would get thrown off.
Aw.
So that
Yeah,
wasn't
then you end up with
viable.
end up with like stringing, right? Like it's the filament just
and
creates
layer
like this
shift,
massive
layer shift.
string.
And do you
Oh, yeah.
recall
Layer
it like
shift,
what
yeah.
percentage completion it would
It would
start doing
either
Go ahead, Bryce.
it was between 70 and 80%.
That's what I was guessing.
So
Oh,
upwards
almost
of-
there.
That's what I was guessing.
Yeah.
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 That's,
Yeah, it's super frustrating. 3D printing is super frustrating like that, for sure. So what was your solution to that?
The solution was, hold on, I'm going to find a copy of one of those.
Lots of late nights printing horizontally.
Yeah. Yep.
That we did look into that. Here's actually one that was printed upside down. All of this red in here are supports that I never bothered to take out. I did not like this idea.
Yeah.
Taking
yeah.
the supports out was awful.
Awful. Yep.
But the idea here, I'll use this finished one. The final solution was you take a cut right at the bottom. So these ones actually pretty solid. The nacelles can just, if you can tell, these can just kind of slide out if you use enough force.
Mm-hmm.
So the nacelles are actually printed separately. Yeah, like that.
Oh, so you broke up
And-
the print into multiple parts, basically.
Yep. I could fit 4 on a build plate,
Yeah.
which isn't 11, but it also works. So
Right.
So how many of these did you print?
there were 500 successful prints.
Whoa.
Wow.
Successful.
I don't know where
That's-
the unsuccessful are.
No, that's pretty amazing. Like you printed 500 multi-piece badges with electronics, wrote the code, built
Yeah, but
out.
hold on.
like-
You printed 500 on a single Bamboo Labs A1?
No, we got a second one partway through.
Oh, okay. So two.
Oh,
Still-
so the
ones.
standard 3D printing problems, right? Yeah, we need more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
I
need
could
more,
print-
right? Yeah.
He doubled his throughput.
I think it was I could print 4 every 8 to 9 hours.
Holy crap! How long did it take you to print 500, dude?
It
long
was several
time. Do the
months
math.
of printing.
Months,
Do the
I would
math, Josh.
imagine.
Yeah,
but
so
then
you're
no,
you're
the wrong
constantly
math, Jeff.
printing.
He's got school, he's got homework, he's got like.
Well, it just had
Yeah,
to be
but
running all
so-
the
but
time.
obviously-
spreadsheet that I had that did the math. Hold on.
Did you do a multicolor PLA print for all of them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have a favorite source
Yep.
for filament?
Yeah, that's a lot of filament, dude. That's a lot of grams of filament, dude.
So most of it was
I
just
hope you
the
ordered from
Bamboo Lab.
AliExpress or where'd you get your
It
filament?
was
Was it
mostly Bamboo
AliExpress?
Lab.
Bamboo Labs
Okay.
filament?
No. Yeah, but it was like Sunfire or something for the nacelle filament because all of these fluoresce
Sunlu?
under black light.
Oh,
Yeah.
Of course they do.
Yeah, Sunlu. Yeah.
Dude,
Sunlu, yeah. Sunlu makes great filament. Yep.
Turn your lights off, Josh. I want to see it glow.
oh no.
Yeah, I can't.
Black light
turn
isn't
the lights
working
on
right
here
now.
this
Never mind.
easily, but,
Sorry.
yeah.
I mean, I
Sorry.
think
Josh, you can use your ultraviolet light flashlight to
That's
make it glow.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah, except it just died.
Oh.
Wait, so Bryce, I have a
one
question.
here.
So we
I can
talked
plug it
about
in.
so we've talked about how you 3D printed the cases, but how did you put together 500 wave share boards? Did those come pre-assembled? Did you have to do any assembly of the electronics?
Those came pre-assembled. I did not trust my soldering with making 500 of them.
Yeah, that's
Not even
task.
close.
Yeah, sure. So you ordered them already pre-built and soldered together. Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
I did have to reflash.
Oh,
both.
look at that.
Nice.
Nice.
Josh has got
Oh,
it
that's
glowing.
beautiful.
That is cool.
Oh, so but you had to flash your firmware on all 500 of the devices.
Yeah.
Wow.
I had to flash it all multiple times. So originally, all the boards were assembled. They all got flashed, and then
Wait, so hold on, Bright. Sorry,
True.
the firmware was flashed on an SD card, or directly onto the board.
via USB-C cable.
Yeah, okay, directly onto the onboard flash, right? Yeah.
So one at a time, or were you doing multiple?
I was able to do it in the beginning. I was able to do about 6 at a time due to a handy adapter that I had. But by the end of it, I was coming to the realization of I need to do more at a time if I don't want to spend 4 hours doing this again.
Right.
So the last time I had to reflash a bunch of them, I was doing 10 at a time.
Mm.
Yes.
Bryce,
Nice.
this is amazing and impressive. This is awesome, and we
Yeah,
expect to
because
see you a
it
lot more
shows
often on this
like
show.
how to overcome engineering challenges, Bryce. Like that's a huge,
I'm-
Like,
I
in terms
can't
of,
wait
like,
to
a
see what you're
resume
up to
builder.
next.
like a resume builder and problem solving. That's huge, dude. That's huge.
Yeah. I'm thinking everybody on this podcast who doesn't have one of those badges is now desperately trying to figure out how to get one.
And one of the
conveniently-
failed ones because that's fascinating.
If you want to
That's-
set up an e-commerce site and sell them, let me know. I can get
That's
you
where I
PCI
was going
compliant.
next. I was waiting for you to tell us you had an eBay store or something, where you're selling them because
Conveniently, they
Yeah.
can get in contact with him.
Yeah, we can
And-
help you out with that, Brian. A lot of people are selling
Josh,
electronics on.
hold that back up again.
Absolutely.
Hold that back again.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people are selling
There we go.
electronics on sites like Tindy and other sites and selling their badges. So
Seriously.
and people will buy them. Dude.
I-
People in our industry love badges. We love hacking devices. So
And did you
Wait.
network with any specific badge groups or anything before DC33?
I didn't even know that the badge life community was a thing until DEF CON
Okay.
33.
Well, I say,
wow.
that makes complete sense. I understand that, but saying like, man, if you connected with like and.xor or something and said you had more to sell, they probably would help.
Well, let's see. So he went to Wireless Village at B-Sides, Delaware. So Rick Farina and Wasabi and a whole crew of people are talking to him now, and they love him. They adore him.
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You're hooked up with Zero Chaos, right?
And I may have texted a picture of this to Lost.
Yep.
May have.
So Paul, I'm going to challenge you because Lee said, the folks that on this podcast that don't have one are figuring out ways to get one. Bryce released all his code and all of the 3MF to be able to print this on your bamboo stuff and links to the filament he used. So
because he's
we're
awesome.
not going to get them from Bryce. Bryce has enabled us. Bryce has enabled us. So.
Yeah, I still want one of Bryce's, but yeah, you're absolutely right, Larry.
I was going to say, I'd fire up the 3D printer, but I'm leaving for vacation on Friday, so it'll have to wait until I get back.
I'll print. I can print you some. Yeah, I got my 3D. Most of my 3D printers are up and running again, so I can totally print some.
All right,
there you
go. Bryce, I want to ask you, like, what's next for you, dude?
Like I am
homework,
but I have projects to work on. I can do that later,
dude. Oh no, don't let the ADHD take you yet. Come on,
dude. Work life balance. It's interesting. We're talking about work life balance at your stage in life, right? Like, but what's next for you?
So, I'm currently exploring what to do for next year's badge because I do want to make another. Mm-hmm. This one was fun. Do it again.
It's addicting, right? It's addicting. Like I created one badge, now I want to create another. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I agree.
Hopefully this time I don't deal with some of the flashing issues I had with the previous badge, which included sitting in the back of a small car, driving to Las Vegas, flashing badges 10 at a time.
Yeah, I hear you. We've all been there. We've all been there. Yep.
It reminds me of Mid-Atlantic CCDC days, Paul.
Oh yeah.
Yep. 100%.
Yep. Totally.
Oh my God, that's funny. Sorry, that's just really funny.
It's so true.
It is. I did get to watch all of Firefly on the way, though. That was the important
dude.
part.
I love that you're a sci-fi nerd as well, which is just. It's near and dear to my heart, man. It's awesome.
I mean, his dad's nickname is Data, for God's sakes. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, Paul, we have to ask our favorite question, but it's going to be which one is his dad made him watch, I think.
Right?
Oh, yeah, do it.
Yeah, where are my 5 questions?
Oh, come on.
No, I got them. Hold on. All right, Bryce, to wrap up this interview, we have 5 questions that we ask every guest on the show. So are you ready to play 5 questions with... Go ahead, Larry.
There's no wrong answers.
No wrong answers. Yeah, no pressure, man. So just 5 random questions. You ready?
Yep.
Alrighty. 3 words to describe yourself.
Creative, crazy, not tired.
If you were a serial killer, what would be your weapon of choice?
A bunch of ESP32s on a string.
Ouch, a calling card.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming.
I love it. Bryce, if you wrote a book about yourself, what would the title be?
Stop getting distracted. Finish writing the book.
What is your favorite hacker movie?
I'm forgetting the titles of every movie I've ever watched.
Tell us the plot. We know it.
Or just a scene, just like a moment.
Tell us who stars in it.
I can just give you the quote, hack the planet. I'm forgetting the name of it right now.
Hackers, man. It's hackers.
Hackers,
of course.
Yes.
The pool on the roof. Yeah, hackers.
Yeah.
Bryce, choose 2 celebrities to be your parents.
Alive, dead, fictional or otherwise. So,
I don't know any actor names. I'm going to be honest here.
Well, you can tell. So if it's from a
I
certain
know
show,
it
it could be a character. It could be from
A character
Tell
from
us the
science
characters they
fiction.
play.
Yeah.
Could be somebody from Star
Or it could
Trek.
be real people.
Yep. The other good option is that celebrity is very vaguely defined. A celebrity in your mind,
in
could
your
be
own
mom,
mind.
mom and dad. So that could also be an accurate answer.
I did not think of it that way. If picking from like general definition of celebrity, Data from Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Good choice.
Yes, Dad, I know you heard that. I'm forgetting everything. I don't know. Someone who's smart with stuff and things.
Sounds like a plan.
We like it.
Awesome. Bryce, thank you so much for appearing on Paul's Security Weekly.
Thank you for having me. I had a great time.
Awesome. Outstanding.
Thanks, Bryce.
Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching this edition of Paul's Security Weekly. Larry, take us out.
Over and to boldly go where no one has been.